When you are working in File Explorer, you might want to customize the File Explorer interface so that it displays files and folders in the way that you find most useful. So for this example, I'm in my YouTube folder and I'm going to jump across to the thumbnails folder. And let's go into the completed folder. So this is basically a folder where I stole all of the thumbnails that I have created for my YouTube videos. Now, currently, I can see what each of those thumbnails represents. I can see a mini representation of the image. So that is super useful for me to view these files in this way because I can better see which thumbnail I'm selecting. But there are other ways that we can view our files. Now, notice at the top of this File Explorer window, we have a toolbar or a menu bar running across the top. So this is very different from Windows 10. We no longer have a ribbon. We just have a few simplified buttons. Now, one of the buttons that we have here is the View button. So this allows you to modify your layout and your view options effectively how you are viewing your files and folders so you can see the one that I currently have selected because it's got a little round circle next to it. So I'm choosing to view my files and folders as large icons and for things like this where there are image files. This is particularly useful now. If I wanted to see those thumbnails even bigger, I could choose extra large icons and they become a lot larger, helping me see these in a little bit more detail. Some other options I have in here are medium-size icons. They are a bit smaller. They are small icons where I lose the image preview entirely. I could choose something like list, which means I can see the file name and the file extension, but not really too much other info on this file, but it is clean and concise looking. Let's go back into view. What about if we select details? Well, this is going to give me a lot more detail on each file, and I can pull these out if I need to see the file extension so immediately. So it's an image file. I can see the date and time it was created. I have got the type listed there again. And I can also see the size. So sometimes having this additional information is really useful, and I find this particularly useful if I am looking for maybe files on my computer that are particularly large to delete because I have this size column, which is going to give me that information. Then the other two options I have in here are tiles, which just displays them in a slightly different way. And I also have content. So again, I get a little bit more information about the file with this particular view. Now I'm going to switch this back to details for you, because what we can also do from this menu running across the top is we can sort our files, so you can see here currently how the files in my folders sorted. This sorted by name in ascending order. And if we take a look at my files, you can see that yes, they are going alphabetically down to Z. But of course, if you don't want that, you could choose to solve by status date. Well, you can go more and choose to sort by one of these other tags. So maybe I want to sort by the last file in this folder that was modified, so I could choose to sort by date modified, so I can see the last file that I worked on was creating workflows. Now I'm going to go back in and sort them by name because the final thing I want to show you in here is you can also group your files as well. And again, you have a choice of what you want to group them by. So maybe I want to group these files by this size. So let's select size on what you are now. See if I have these groups. And then I have another group at the bottom for my smaller files that are between 16K and 1 meg. And of course, there are other ways that I can group these files as well by name, status, date type, so on and so forth. If I jump across to type now, it's going to group these by the different file types. So I have a group which is showing my MP4 files and then pretty much everything else in this folder. So don't forget about those little sorting options. And if you want to remove sorting, you have that none option at the bottom. Now, the final thing to really talk about here are the navigation panes. Now your navigation pane is basically this area on the left-hand side where you can currently see your folder structure. This is what you use to browse through your different folders, find your files and generally navigate around File Explorer. But what we can do here is if we jump up to View and go down to Show, we can choose which planes we want to show on that left-hand side. And we have a choice of 3 different panes. The navigation pane, which is the one that I currently have. Open the Details pane and the Preview pane. So if I show the Details pane, that's actually going to show me that on the right-hand side. So anytime I click on a file in a folder, it's going to give me more detail related to this particular file so I can see the date taken, the dimensions, the size and also the date it was created. So that can sometimes be super useful. Let's go back into Show and I'm going to turn off the Details pane and turn on the Preview pane. And this doesn't work as well when you have image files. So if I go across to, let's go across to a file that contains some Word files. So I'm back in my Pivot Charts blog post. And if I click on this Word file, I get to see a preview in the window on the right-hand side. And of course, I can make this File Explorer window bigger and also adjust this pane so I can see a little bit more. So if I hover my mouse somewhere around here, when my cursor changes to the 2 arrows, I can drag that out and I can basically get a preview of the document before I open it. So that little preview pane can also be really useful. And if you do want to save a little bit of space, you could even turn off the navigation pane altogether, which is going to remove that folder structure. Now I have to say I never do this because I always want to have that open so I can navigate around my folders. So have a little play around of those different things and set your folders up so that you are viewing your files in a way that's most useful to you.